Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? I promised this would be exciting.
How many more egg puns can we fit into it?
Yes. And so we were talking backstage, and we thought we'll talk about marketing, we'll talk about advertising. All we ended up doing was for last 2 hours talk just about food. So if we switch away from the topic of marketing and advertising, just bear with us. All right. So my name is Saurabh Bhatia. I'm the CEO for North America region for Mirrors by Silverpush.
Okay. You're getting a phone call right now or something.
No, this is Egglife video music that was playing in the background. So we do video advertising on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, some massive machine learning robot, blah, 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 blah. But I'm really interested in knowing is, Andrea, when did you first started with advertising and marketing?
I think my first claim to fame in food marketing and advertising was actually as talent. I was a model on a Kick cereal box for a promotion for Little Legs tights, and I had to like wear some tights and pose like this, and it was a total box top program. And so that's my claim to fame. You could find my face across grocery aisles everywhere on the back of a Kick cereal box. So,
how old were you?
I was 6 years old. There are signed copies at my parents' house. I think half the letters are written backwards because I was 6. But yeah, I've been in food marketing literally since I was 6 years old. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So tell me a little bit about this brand Egglife. And guys, I'm really, really fascinated by the story of this brand. It is crazy. It's crazy once you're going to hear it. So, but please go ahead.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Andrea Schwenk. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Egglife Foods. I've spent my whole career since I was 6 years old in food and beverage marketing. And I have a passion for food and the role that it plays for us. It's been fun to hear from a few different food brands today. Food is a connector that brings us together. It's something that everyone has stories and memories around. It's something that we use to celebrate occasions. Something we use to comfort other people when they're down, and everybody has these strong, passionate stories about food. And so I've built my career around that. I've worked on various sides of the table. I started on the creative agency side of the business, working on Burger King. I've been on the, where I met Andrea. I've been on the retailer side of the business at Buffalo Wild Wings. And I've done a couple stints on the supplier side of the business at Beam Suntory and now with Egglife Foods. And so it's been fun to have this varied perspective of how consumers consume food and how do we as marketers effectively reach them and influence them. And my journey brought me to Egglife Foods because I had worked in a lot of large established brands and I was really looking to build something from the ground up. So I'm building not only a brand, but a company and a team. I was the first marketing employee at Egglife for a while, and now I've since built out my team, which has been super rewarding. And for those of you that don't know what Egglife Foods is, we are a leader in modern nutrition. We have a patented process for converting eggs into a flour replacement. And we can do that across a myriad of different flour-based foods. Our first product that we've gone to market with is an egg white tortilla. So it's a egg white wrap that serves as a replacement for a tortilla, but it's low carb, high protein, gluten and grain free, keto friendly. It hits on a lot of major consumer trends right now. It's also extremely versatile. You can consume it hot or cold with savory or sweet flavors. We have consumers that make lasagna with our wraps. They cut our wraps up and boil them and make noodles. That's really, the possibilities are endless. And even I didn't appreciate the versatility of the product until I came into this role and was like, wow, I thought it was a good product. It's a great product. And the creativity that our consumers have with our product is really astounding. I mean, it's an egg white tortilla. Like, who would have thought you could do all those things? So
how old is the company or the brand?
So we launched in the Chicagoland market as a test market in 2019. And so fast forward to today, a little over 2 years later, we're in 10,000 retail locations.
Wow.
Yeah, we're on Amazon Fresh. We sell DTC on our website, and we'll be launching on Amazon.com here in the next few weeks. So yeah, the growth has just been phenomenal.
Tell me, how did you guys came up with the name Egglife, and what's the story about like origin of this brand? Because you guys are so new, and many of us, like, I didn't know about Egglife until I came to Chicago, and then I was like totally blown away with the kind of, like, in less than 3 years what these guys have done is stunning. So like, what's the story?
Yeah, the name predates me, so I don't have as much background on really where it came from, but I do know some of the other names that they considered. So Egglife was founded by a woman named Peggy Johns, which is so ironic because Peggy has the word egg in her name. I mean, it was like so serendipitous. We're owned by the second largest egg farm in the country, Roseacre Farms, and Peggy worked for Roseacres for many, many years. And she was experiencing some health challenges. And so they say necessity is the mother of invention. And Peggy, her doctor told her, you really need to cut out carbs and sugar, and you need to start eating in a different way. And she's like, I love bread. And if I'm going to change my lifestyle, I have to have some sort of solution. She worked for this egg farm, and she's like, all right, my doctor told me, no carbs, no sugar, but eat protein. What do eggs have? A ton of protein, no carbs, no sugar. Like, I bet I could make something with this. And she got in the kitchen and started experimenting, and she came up with this wrap product, and she shared it with her colleagues at Roseacre Farms, and they were like, Peggy, this is amazing. Like, we have to do something with this. You really could change people's lives. And so some of the other names that they considered at the time were Eggheads. Like, thank God we didn't name the product Eggheads. And Peggy's. So thankfully, Egglife was the winner of those, and there was some consumer research to back that was the right name to move forward with.
You guys launched this company or the test market brand in 2019, just before pandemic, and I'm really curious to know, like, in such hotly contested market space, launching just before pandemic, and it's been an amazing growth story for you guys. How did you manage that, and what are the shifts that you have seen in terms of consumer behavior, and did you do anything before or after the pandemic?
Yeah, no, great question. And I mean, we've heard the thematic today, the pandemic just accelerated consumer behavior that already existed. And I think the trend that I've really noticed the most is that, like, it's this idea of like health equals wealth, and this idea of food not only being something that serves this functional purpose of providing us energy and nutrition, but it does so many other things. It affects our immunity. It affects our skin. It affects the way that we think. And so there's this whole idea of food as this source of modern nutrition and medicine. And so really thinking about the expectation that consumers have for food and what it does for them has been leveled up. There's no doubt about it. And they have this high expectation for food. They're reading ingredient labels. They want to understand where their food comes from, what benefit is it going to have for them, but they're also not willing to sacrifice on taste. They want to do it all. They want it all. They want the nutrition and they want the taste. And so I think that that's been really interesting. And like, fortunately, like, Egglife was created at the perfect time to help, ride that acceleration. But I think what also has happened is just the change in how consumers shop for groceries. I mean, quick poll of the room. I mean, how many of you have changed your shopping behavior in terms of how you buy groceries in the last 2 years? I mean, every single person here, right? I used to, relish in the opportunity on a Saturday morning to go to Whole Foods and like browse around, and with the flagship stores here, you could, have a glass of wine and some cheese and, just shop around and discover new products. And like, that wasn't happening, right? I now 9 times out of 10, my groceries are delivered to my door. Even though I still love that experience, the convenience for me has outweighed even that experience factor in store. And so as a food marketer introducing a new brand, we've had to get creative of how do we introduce people to this new and novel product, because it takes a little bit of education to say, okay, what is Egglife? And then what do I do with it, and why should I care? So we've had to be quite creative in reaching new consumers.
Great. And I have to ask this question to you. So, so anyone who is in the room, whenever you get a chance, you go to YouTube and search Egglife. And I did the search and let me tell you what I found. Keto War Tortilla, Egglife Wrap, Crunchy Air Fryer Chips, Keto Skillet Lasagna, Keto Cooking, Egglife Wraps into noodles. And there is a video about someone who has spent 1 hour. She posted a 1 hour YouTube video saying how I converted Egglife into my noodles. And that whole 1 hour, she's just talking about it. It seems like in the world of food, keto, YouTube, something is happening. There is like people are going nuts and crazy about Egglife. So how did you manage that? Are you doing anything, or it's some magic is happening? You can take the credit as well, but please go ahead.
No, I mean, I think the first piece is that we truly solved a consumer need. Like there was a genuine need for this product, and there's so much passion around it. Like I never in a million years would have expected that people would be so passionate about egg white wraps. But this, like, we see this content all the time. And for me, I've spent my career talking a lot about brand loyalty and how do you move consumers through the funnel. And I think for me, this role has really taught me that it's a step beyond brand loyalty. It's brand love. It's this idea of being so passionate about a brand that you just can't wait to share it with other people. And like, I think about my own journey as a consumer, and I think about, the brands that I'm loyal to versus the brands that I love. Like, I think for me, a good example, I think about like some of the retailers I shop, like I'm very loyal to Home Depot. Whenever I have a home project or I'm doing a garden project, I don't really consider any other place to go and get the materials that I need. I go to Home Depot, even though there's a Menards like a chip shot away from my house. I prefer Home Depot, but I don't talk about it passionately. Versus I think about a retailer experience like Aldi. Anybody that knows me knows that I love shopping at Aldi. I think it's this whole fun discovery element. There's always new and exciting things to try. If you know me well, I've probably told you how much I love their salmon. You said you're a fan of fish. I mean, you need to try Aldi salmon. Like, let me just tell you, it's great. It's mind blowing. You're welcome, everyone, for that recommendation. But I just light up when I talk about it because I love it so much. And so it's fun to see the brand love that our consumers have for our product. And so as a marketer, for me, it's about, how do I help harness that? How do I help create the great product and the great brand experience that enables the consumer to have that visceral connection? But then how do I take it a step further and then help those folks evangelize the brand for us and really be the arms and legs that can help spread the word about Egglife as this new and novel product.
Got it. You have to share the story about the cruise.
The low carb cruise. Yeah.
Guys, just pay attention. This is the craziest thing that I've heard in last 1 month about food or anything. So please go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things that we've really learned about our Egglife consumers is that there are specific audience groups that Egglife really resonates with because of our amazing nutritional profile and the fact that we're gluten-free. There are a set of gluten-free consumers that are very passionate about Egglife. There's a set of keto consumers that are very passionate about Egglife. And I didn't know this before I worked at Egglife, but there are whole vacations that are centered around these lifestyles. So you think about this, like, you're gluten-free, you're going on vacation, like all of a sudden food becomes this restriction. Like you have to think about, like, where can I or can't I eat? What can I or can't I eat? And if you're vacationing with other people that don't follow that lifestyle, all of a sudden you're the one that's ostracized from that group. And that's not fun. You don't want to do that on vacation. Vacation is supposed to be freeing. So they've created these cruises that are centered around these lifestyles. So there's a low carb cruise. They literally take over an entire Royal Caribbean cruise, and all of the food is low carb and fits these people's diets and lifestyles. And so they have true food freedom on this boat. They don't have to worry about, being bombarded with things that are off limits. It's all of a sudden like the world is their oyster. And so Egglife was able to be a part of one last week. I did not go. Cruising's not really my jam, but it was really fun to hear the feedback from folks there. And you've got a captive audience of people on a boat. So I mean, like, what a better way to reach your target audience, I guess, is on a cruise ship.
Wow, a keto cruise. Imagine that.
Yeah.
So since your brand kind of exploded during the past couple of years, are there any challenges that you are facing with regards to, like, there's a lot of talk going on about supply chain, and I'm guessing there's a huge demand. So how are you managing expectations over there, and how does that change your role as a marketer, and how do you respond to that?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. And I mean, everybody in the room is experiencing supply chain challenges. It's affecting every industry. CPG is not immune to that. And as a startup, we're growing and scaling our business amidst this backdrop of a pandemic and these crazy supply chain challenges. And we are fortunate that we're vertically integrated with our parent company that makes eggs. They produce eggs. So 95% of our wraps are egg whites. So luckily, like, that has not been an issue, but the other ingredients that we use in our wraps, as well as our packaging, has been challenging. And it's not only like being able to get product, but it's these ever-changing timelines and what are suppliers committing to, and how do you manage that amidst a very unpredictable growth trajectory as a new brand. And so it's trying to triangulate that has been really difficult. But I think the way we've been able to overcome it at Egglife is really just through relationships and treating our suppliers like true partners, helping give them the big picture of what we're doing, because we're not the most important customer that they're servicing. We're a startup, we're small, but we can, provide meaning and value to them. And being a true partner has helped, I think, increase our relevancy with them and like get us higher on the list as we think about, allocations. And luckily we've been able to manage the storm pretty well. I think another headwind we've faced is, as we've grown and scaled our business, being able to grow and scale our people to support that. I mean, the labor market is super tight, and we have to have people to make the wraps to meet the demand, and we have to have people to sell our wraps. And that's been challenging. And we've had to make some hard decisions and say, we have to either like temper our growth expectations or potentially push off projects because we don't have the hands and heads to be able to do the work. And what I appreciate about our leadership team is we've been really maniacally focused on not just filling roles with people, but filling roles with the right people. And if that means we have to wait to make the right hire, then we do that, and we have to live with the consequences there. But I appreciate our unified approach there. And then we've just been nimble. I think, like, if you looked at our hiring plan, even for January of this year versus what it is now, like, it's already evolved because our business is changing and shifting so quickly that we've had to adapt our expectation for how we best service the business. And so just being nimble and flexible, I think, has been our best strategy there.
Let me use this opportunity to plug something here, and this is for you, Andrea. So she is hiring across multiple roles. So if you or your friends are interested in working for one of the craziest, fastest, excellent brand, please feel free to reach out to her.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, we're hiring salespeople. I've got a couple marketing roles open. We're always looking for people to work in production. So if you know anybody, send them my way.
Yes. Okay. So let me put you on a spot here. What is your one bold prediction in the world of marketing, how it would look like 12 to 18 months from now?
Yeah, no, great question. I don't know how bold this prediction is, but I mean, I think for me, brand matters now more than ever. And I think it's because we have these crazy inflationary pressures and cost of living increases, and consumers' wallets are being tightened, and they ultimately are making choices, and you want them to choose your brand. And so brand matters. And I think it's one of the reasons why we have a very intentional full funnel marketing approach at Egglife. Sometimes I think it's easy to focus on down funnel conversion tactics. And we've been super intentional to make sure that we have a full funnel approach, and being vertically integrated with an egg farm. I like to use farming analogies. And so when I think about our full funnel approach, in order to have a bountiful harvest and to be able to reap the fruits of your labor, you have to first plant the seeds, and you have to create the right growing environment for those seeds to bear fruit. And so I think about planting seeds as all of our awareness driving tactics. We're planting these little messages with consumers. As we think about our consideration tactics, it's about creating the right environment for those seeds to germinate. And then as I think about the more down funnel activities, it's about, okay, we've created this amazing environment. Now, how do we reap the fruits of those labor and move consumers into that brand love? So,
wow, that's cool. One more interesting thing that I learned about Andrea was that as of last week, she was judging Effie's. And so if for the audience here, how was that experience? And if there is one takeaway tip that you may want to share, your wisdom of knowledge, please feel free to do so.
Yes. Oh gosh, happy to share this. So it was a really, really interesting experience. I've been on the other side of the table, both writing submissions for Effie's for clients, winning them myself as a client, super rewarding experience. This is my first time judging. And I think what was the most eye-opening for me was, as a finalist judge, like helping make the determination of what level of award these brands and programs were going to receive. The amount of time that a judge has to review an Effie submission is quite short. So if there's one piece of advice that I have for any of you in the audience, is be as succinct and direct as possible. I think what's interesting about the Effies in general is that you as a brand are defining what success looks like. It's all about efficacy, but you're determining what the efficacy is. Like what was your goal? Was it driving awareness? Was it conversion? Was it changing brand perception? Like you're determining what success looks like. So just clearly articulate what the challenge was. What did you set as your success metric? And then how did you deliver, and do it in the manner that the judge could read it in like 8 minutes or less, and you'll be golden. So
wow. Thanks for that tip. And there is a plug for our company. We recently won an Effie. Yeah. She was not the judge of it. So there is no biases happening here. Yes. Okay. Okay, next is pretty interesting. So like yesterday's topic over here was media. Today's topic is innovation. So as a marketer, and your brand is, like, I would say, like fairly innovative in terms of how you have approached the market, how you have captured the market. So what are you seeing in the landscape, like in terms of innovation, or what's kind of, even within your brand, if there is anything that you are thinking, oh, this is something that we are trying on the innovative grounds, what would those be?
Yeah, I would just say, we just have a test. I think you heard in the last session, like we just have a very test and learn approach. Like we are open to failure as long as we fail fast and we fail forward. And so that's kind of been our guiding principle. We choose to have a diverse approach to media. We don't put, all of our eggs in any one basket, because the landscape has changed. Another egg pot. I didn't even intend that one. Man, nailed it. We believe in diversification, because things are changing so quickly, and we don't want to be reliant on any one channel or tactic to drive success for the Egglife brand. And so I think that's been a key piece for us. Thus far.
All right. So so I see we have a few minutes left, and we would like to wrap it up in a good way. So if there are any questions about eggs, food, recipe, nutrition, or marketing, we are happy to address those.
I really liked what you said about brand matters. And what would you, I think in this landscape right now, authenticity is so important, especially when, you think about, platforms like TikTok, et cetera. What does authenticity mean to you and to Egglife?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, authenticity for us is transparency. It's like our communication strategy is all about simple, delicious nutrition. And I use that as a filter for like everything that we do, for the products that we develop, for the communication we put out into the marketplace. And so just making sure that we continue to cultivate an authentic relationship with our consumers. If we take the time, I handwrite notes to consumers all the time. It's just like this lost art, but like, what a great moment for me to connect and thank them for business. I mean, we sell $5 packs of wraps. Like it's not a, high ticket item, but we've created a few like really robust communities. Like we do a lot with registered dietitians. So as a Better For You brand, when registered dietitians are making recommendations to their clients about what they should or shouldn't eat, we'd love Egglife to be in their consideration set if it fits within their clients' diet and lifestyle. So really kind of cultivating these authentic communities. We use influencers to help, create those communities, but it's really just about being real with them, real about like where our products come from, how they're made, what you can do with them, and just trying to meet the consumer where they are. Any questions?
Any other questions?
This is kind of a weird question, so bear with me. So I too love handwritten notes, even though I have terrible handwriting.
I have terrible.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. What do you think is the handwritten note equivalent in mass media? Is it social? Is it, linear with a creative messaging? What's that kind of the same sentiment that somebody can receive as you do with a handwritten note?
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think social is a piece of it. I think it's just like personalization. Like at the end of the day, like, I think there's this interesting tension between privacy and personalization. Consumers are saying like, I want my privacy. I don't want to give you any of my information, but then they're pissed when you like serve them an ad that's irrelevant to them, right? Like they're like, what the hell? Why am I getting an ad for diapers, geriatric diapers? Like that's not me, right? I'd be mad. Luckily that hasn't happened to me yet, but yeah. And so I think it's like finding that balance there. And it's interesting because I think about the continuum of personalization and privacy. Like I am interested to see how brands are actually using the opt-in to give their information in an interesting way where they're reinforcing the benefit to the consumer. So like one example I had was I was at O'Hare the other day and I was getting a lift and I think I had my location services turned off on my phone from the flight. And the lift was coming and the push notifications said something about like turn on your location services so that your driver can better find you. And there's a million lifts, there's all these people. I'm like, oh, that's so smart. Like they clearly communicated the consumer benefit, which made me want to give them my information because it actually improved the experience. So I think as marketers for us to think about like, what are the ways that we can better communicate the benefit to the consumer for providing that information and making this whole idea of like privacy less scary and more personal. So.
And
I was just curious what media channels you're prioritizing right now.
Yeah, great question. The bulk of our spend right now is in social and CTV. Social is just a freaking workhorse for us. But CTV is super important for upper funnel, but we execute on search. We've got programmatic display running. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. And then we always have a test and learn budget set aside. It's interesting, like in the food space, a lot of like where people are looking for inspiration is on like recipes and blogs. So we also try to do like in recipe ad units to inspire folks to try Egglife as a substitute for whatever they may have originally had on their shopping list, and kind of intercepting folks that way. Yeah.
all right. I guess our time is up here on the stage. It's a wrap. Do check out Egglife. By the way, they have come up with a new sweet version as well.
We do. It's called Sweet Cinnamon. It's pretty bomb if I do say myself. Great with peanut butter and banana or cream cheese and strawberries. So
all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrea.